Welcome to Smart Cherry's Thoughts. This is Sai from India.
Nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you. Thank you very much for giving me opportunity to interview you for my YouTube channel and podcast.
I'm happy to be here. So you're gonna have to help me with your name. It's Sai, and then is it Sharan?
Yeah, the first one.
Sai?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Uh,
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Jason, for coming to my show and being very patient. Last time we are unable to connect. Today we are able to connect, and I'm going to tell about your work to my audience.
That sounds great. Yeah, I realize. I mean, you're 12 and a half hours different from me, so whatever we do, it's going to be a little bit strange, right?
Yeah. So before talking about you, can you please introduce yourself to my audience?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Jason Warner. I am a senior staff engineer at Bill. Um, and I'm a father of two beautiful daughters. And I code in Angular and spend a lot of time. Um, I spend a lot of time producing content for Angular. I stream, I do blog posts, I do a little bit of YouTube, stuff like that. So,
So your technology career started at what time?
uh, my career started. Oh man, it's been a long time. So, like 1998 was when I got my first job programming professionally. That's almost 30 years. That's crazy to think. Um, so at that point in time, I was working for a survey company, and my job was to program the surveys that they would call on the phones. Um, and so I started there. I started working in a language called Clipper, um, really old database language. And then from there, moved into PHP. I did um, I did a bunch of LAMP stacks. So that was Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP. Um, way back in the day. But yeah, that's where my technology career started.
So how much you learned?
How much have I learned? I don't know. That's a tough question. Um, I have done I've done everything from Linux to embedded systems to um, one of my jobs. I worked on I designed and wrote a program that they used on tablets on like when they would bring vehicle. I worked for an auto auction at the time. They would bring vehicles into the auto auction, um, and people had to walk around the vehicles and say how much damage was done to parts of the vehicle, so that when dealers would come and bid on the vehicles, they would know what condition the vehicle is in and how how much the vehicle was worth based on the damage and things like that. So I worked on a system um, where people could walk around and on a tablet with a pen write down all the information about it, and then it could be displayed to the dealerships. But part of that was um, the they would estimate the cost of what it would cost to repair the vehicle, and so they would use Mitchell manuals to determine how much something would cost, and then based on that cost, they would enter in the information, and then these devices would they had a peer-to-peer network, so they would connect to each other all over the auction and then through the internet to other auctions that were owned by this auction company, and they would share all of that data. So I spend a lot of time learning how peer-to-peer networks work, how, I don't know, there's a lot to learn still. There's just so much out there, right? So it's hard to say how much I've learned, but I do know there's still so much more to learn. So, yeah.
So what is your present job? What is your present work?
Yeah, so currently I am a senior staff engineer at Bill. And Bill is a way for people to pay their bills online. And we work with companies and individuals and give them a way to pay their bills online and connect with other companies to be able to receive and pay bills. My job is I'm a staff engineer there, and I'm focused on front end. So I spend a lot of time writing front end code, helping others write front end code, reviewing MRs, merge requests. Doing a lot of the stuff that enterprise level companies do programming wise, and we do it in Angular. Currently, I'm working on a project where we are introducing some new patterns, component level state management, and so I get to spend a lot of time helping others learn new patterns, and that's one of the things that I really enjoy doing, is just helping, teaching others and working with others.
So I can understand you are Angular enthusiast.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, I do a lot with Angular. I love Angular. I have a stream where I code in Angular, and I write blog posts for ngConf through the ng Champions channel. So yeah, I do like Angular.
So why you like it?
Why do I like it? That's a good question. So I've worked in a lot of different web frameworks. I've been lucky in that I've got to program in a lot of things. I've done back end, I've done embedded, I've done Linux, like I said, but I keep coming back to the web. There's just something about the web that I've enjoyed, and I've been doing web programming since back in the old days of like MooTools and Prototype, and so I've been watching the web grow, and I've used a lot of different frameworks. I've used Knockout. I've used, like I said, MooTools, Prototype, jQuery. I've done a little bit of React. I've done some Vue. And I did Angular JS, and now I'm doing Angular. And so I've had the opportunity to see a lot of different frameworks. The thing I like the best about Angular is it's opinionated. And so when you work in a lot of different web technologies, companies tend to develop their own kind of framework or meta framework on top of what they're doing. And by that I mean, if you're working on a jQuery project, you can't jump to another jQuery project and know exactly how it's going to be structured, and how they write their code and things like it. There's a learning curve there, and it's the same with a lot of libraries. The companies build up a lot of their own frameworking type things around that library that they're using. Angular is a full-fledged framework, so when you work in Angular, you know that you've got services, you've got components, you've got directives, you've got pipes and things like that. And when you're reading Angular code, it's easy to determine, based on the code, what they're doing. You don't have to understand a lot of third-party libraries. So going back to like jQuery, for example, you would have like Ajax plugins for jQuery. You would have animation plugins for jQuery. You would have, different types of inputs that you would add to jQuery. And, one team might pick one library, and then you'd go to another team and they would pick another library. And so when you would move from one jQuery project to another, you're relearning libraries and things like that. Angular provides a lot of that out of the box, like the routing, dependency injection, all sorts of stuff. And so the opinionated nature makes it easy to help others in their Angular projects, because as you're looking at the project, you're like, oh yeah, this makes sense. And I can help you because I've seen this pattern before. Let's add this and this to it, and it can be better. But we can at least we have the same common starting ground because Angular is pretty much structured the same wherever you go.
And what kind of projects you're working on?
I do. Are you talking about personal projects, or are you talking about
Both.
like at work? Both at work and at personal? Okay. Starting with work, I'm working mainly in the front end. Well, no, it's exclusively in the front end, not mainly. I'm working exclusively in the front end. We are working on a project to help modernize some aspects of the current application that I'm working in. I can't go into it too much more, just because we can't talk about it at this point in time. But it is some exciting work. I wish I could talk a little bit more about it. I can talk more about my personal projects. I do streaming 3 times a week. So on Sundays I have a stream where I do fundamentals, Angular fundamentals, when we talk about how to do things in Angular. Right now we're using the Rick and Morty API to build an application in Angular, and showing how we can work with an API and keep all of our data reactive and respond to things that are happening in the UI and also in the API, and in a reactive way, so that it's always it's always responding to the user, or it's always responding to the API. We aren't having to do anything where we're waiting. So that's one of the things that I'm doing. And then on Monday and Thursday, I do more of just kind of what I'm interested in and what I want to do. So right now we're exploring a library called RX Angular. And because, May is kind of Star Wars month, we're using the Star Wars API. And so we're doing, we're learning a new library in Angular. But in the past, we've done stuff like Sudoku games. So on stream, we built a Sudoku game and showed how all of that would work. It's able to solve itself. It's able to generate puzzles, things like that. What else have we done? We've done a lot of exploration recently of Angular 16 because there is a lot of new stuff coming up in Angular 16. I have a project that's kind of on the back burner right now that is kind of like those mobile farming games. One of the things I like to do with Angular is show people that Angular can do strange stuff. So I like to write games in Angular. It's not necessarily something I would recommend, but it's definitely possible. But it allows us to explore. It allows us to explore new ideas in Angular and think about Angular from a different angle, and teach programming concepts. And so that's why I like to do strange things, because if all we're doing is building forms and doing the stuff that everybody does every day, then we aren't thinking about the framework in new ways. And everybody solved forms and things like that multiple times a day in their job, right? You go to work and you build forms most of the time. So yeah, the stream is my way to do weird things and learn new things and explore ideas that I have.
So what level of knowledge you have in Angular?
I've been doing Angular since the Angular 2 release. I've explored a lot of Angular. There's still so much I need to learn. I would put myself in an advanced level, maybe. I'm not sure. There are a lot of people out there who know a lot more than I do, and I recognize that, and I really appreciate their help. That's one of the things that I really think sets Angular apart from a lot of other frameworks is the Angular community is very friendly and helpful. And so if you've got a problem, you can reach out to the community and the community will most likely help you. So I feel like I've got an okay grasp of Angular, but I know there are people out there who know it way better than I do.
So when I can expect a book on Angular from you?
So a book, that's a funny story. I was actually, there's a publishing company in India that was asking if I would write a book for Angular. And I talked to a bunch of my friends, and the amount of time that it takes to write a book, I don't have that time right now. So I'm going to continue to produce like blog posts. I'm going to continue to stream. I'm going to continue to do YouTube stuff. But I don't have the time to be able to write a book. So right now, I'm probably not going to write a book on Angular.
So how many problems or what kind of problems that we can solve with Angular?
Angular's an interesting framework. So I think like most frameworks, you could solve any problem you want to solve. Recently I saw an interesting video about a guy who creates paintings in Excel, right? I don't think Excel is necessarily what I would choose to do paintings, but he does it very well. I think Angular is kind of the same way. We could solve any problem we want with Angular, and I think I've proven that with things like building Sudoku games or building like a little farm clicker game or things like that. We can build games with Angular. Chowtran has a library called Angular 3JS that allows you to do 3D animations using Angular. And so we could even do 3D animations and do WebGL rendering, and there are a lot of things that it does. But would I recommend Angular for those? Probably not, right? There are much better frameworks for games. You've got like Unity, game engines like that, Godot. The various game engines are definitely better for building games. The problems that Angular solves well tend to be the same problems that large companies tend to have, which is why Angular tends to show up quite a bit in large companies. B2B enterprise level software, Angular does very, very well. It handles code very, very well from large organizations because it's opinionated. Where things should go, which means that when you have multiple teams working on a code base, you're most likely going to produce a decent code base, right? So it works well with large teams. Basically anything that the major web frameworks can do, Angular does well. one of its big struggles has definitely been server-side rendering, but a lot of work has been done in that, and with Angular 16, Angular server-side rendering is getting better, and rumors are that in 17 and 18 it will get even better. So definitely web solutions, it's going to solve the best. But like any framework, it can do whatever you want it to do, if you're creative enough.
So, in this long experience that you have in technology, what you have understood learning different skills and different tools?
Yeah. So a while ago, I heard this saying, and when you're young, if you don't have passion, then you don't have heart. And when you're older, if you don't have wisdom, then you don't have a brain, right? What that saying means to me is that, when I was a younger developer, I was out there fighting for my favorite programming language. I was fighting for my favorite editor. I was fighting for, and all of those things were exciting and important to me, right? And we see this a lot in the development community where people are like, oh no, you should be using React. No, you should be using Vue. No, you should be using Angular. No, you should be using Quick, right? And people are very, very passionate about it. And that's important. The community needs that passion because it helps these tools be the best that they can be. But as you develop, you start to see the same problems over and over again, right? As your career gets longer and longer, you see the same problems. You've seen them solved multiple ways, and that's where wisdom starts to creep in. And you can say, well, I've seen this problem before. We've tried this way, but I find that this solution tends to be the best. And wisdom starts to creep in, and you have a lot less passion about, the framework or the editor or the tooling or all of that other stuff. It doesn't matter, right? Well, I don't want to say it doesn't matter. It does matter. And you should always hang on to a bit of that passion. I still have a bit of passion. That's why I love Angular, and I'm passionate about teaching other people. But that passion is tempered with the wisdom and things that I've learned. And so, certain things I will definitely be passionate about and say, no, it has to be this way because I've learned lessons about that. But other things, it doesn't matter, and we can explore other ideas. And I think that's the beautiful thing about technology, is, so many of the tools are free, and the barrier to entry has come way, way down, which means that, just like today, we can talk clear across the world because technology has lowered the barrier. And so, voice chatting across the world is free, right? Because there are so many amazing people that have amazing ideas that are able to get access to tools and learn from others through the internet. And we can share ideas, and we can have these amazing discussions, and we can do it for free, and technology enables that. And that's one of the things that I love the most about just about technology and over the course of my career is it gives me a lot of optimism, because I see a lot of people who work in technology doing things that are making the world better, and they're doing it for free. So, yeah.
And what you don't understand about Angular?
Oh man, there are so many things. What don't I understand? It's kind of one of those things where the more you think you know about something, the less you know. And so, I would have told you a year ago that I thought I understood dependency injection in Angular as well as I could. And then, I talked to some people in the Angular community, and I'm learning that I probably don't know it as well as I should. There there are a lot of things that the more you think you know, the less you actually know, and that's what I love about programming in general, is that you can go as deep as you want into almost any subject. But to answer your question, what don't I know about Angular? I probably need to get better at server-side rendering. I haven't done SSR in years. I haven't done web components in a long time, so there's a lot there that I don't know about it. What else? Multiple router outlets. There's still some stuff I need to learn there. Different types of host bindings. There's definitely some things I need to learn there. I don't know. I think if I sat down and started coding something, there'd be like, oh yeah, I need to learn this better or this better. There's just a lot that I need to learn better. But yeah.
So how much time you took to understand Angular?
A long time. I guess what do you mean, to understand like the basics of Angular, or to understand it
The
to the
purpose
level?
of it. The
The
purpose
purpose.
of it and how to use it.
Oh, that didn't take very long. I think because I had a lot of experience in the web before I started with Angular, I was able to pick it up pretty quickly. There were a couple of things that took a bit more time to understand, like RxJS observables took a little bit of time to understand. Dependency injection was a little bit different from the way other things did it, but it was actually easier, but it took me a little bit of time. I would say it probably took me 3 to 4 months from when I first started doing modern Angular to where I would have been comfortable just writing an application from scratch.
And what we cannot do with Angular.
What can't we do with Angular? So Angular is a web framework. It has, so it was designed so that you could use different renderers, but nobody's actually done a lot of that. So, you're not going to write an embedded system with Angular. You're not going to find Angular in low level stuff, right? You're unlikely to find any major games written in Angular, right? It's just not going to do well in those areas. And outside of the web, Angular is probably not a good solution for things. It works really well in the web, but once you move away from the web, there are definitely better tools.
And why Angular?
Why Angular? So the question was why Angular?
Yeah.
So I guess if I had to convince somebody to use Angular, I would start with the fact that the last 3 versions of Angular have created kind of what I've been calling the Angular Renaissance, where Angular has been changing and changing for the better, and introducing a lot of really cool ideas. So in the past, Angular had modules. In Angular 14, we got rid of modules. Well, we didn't get rid of them, but you can do standalone components that don't need modules. And then Angular 15 added a whole bunch of new stuff too, but Angular 16 really came out and added the ability to use ES-Build, to use Vite. They went testing agnostic, so Karma used to be the framework that you would use to test Angular. Now you can do Jest, and it's supported by Angular right away. They introduced signals, which is a new way to do reactive primitives in Angular, and they started working on server-side rendering and non-destructive hydration of your pages. And so, with Angular 14 and then 15 and then 16, Angular has shifted a lot away from what people used to think that Angular was like. And when people talk about Angular, the stuff that they say is probably related to Angular 13 and below, and the newer versions of Angular are adding new stuff. So right away, Angular is changing, and it's changing a lot for the better. And then to add to that, like I said in the beginning, the framework works really, really well with large teams because it's opinionated. And so it works well in enterprise situations. And yeah, that would be, if I was talking to somebody about why they should use Angular, those would be the points I would bring up.
Yeah. And what you write in your blogs?
I just released a story recently about, what was it about? I need to go look it up. Well, I write a lot about state management, so you'll find things like component store in there. I just recently released one this week. Comm published it. It is on. I have to go look up my stories. How to write routes for Angular using the new can match property on the router. How we can use that to do like A/B testing or permissions or feature flags, things like that. I've talked about how you can use data to style your components. I do write some articles that aren't related to tech. So I do have an article on 3 impactful things that you can do to improve your career right now. I write on all sorts of stuff, technology related. It's published through Comm, so it's mostly Angular related.
So if you can send me your links, I'll put in the description of this video. People who finds our video on YouTube can see the work that you're doing, can learn from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me give my link. Paste that right now into the chat. There it is. There's the link to my Medium blog. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, and at last, what do you say about my work? Have you seen any videos of mine on YouTube?
Before you reached out, I hadn't. But I went to investigate and just see. You've got a lot of really good videos where you're talking with technology leaders, and I've enjoyed watching those videos. on YouTube. I haven't watched your podcast, but watching your videos definitely helped me to be comfortable with talking to you, and being on your podcast and your YouTube channel and things like that. You're doing some amazing things. You're helping a lot of people in the community, and you're telling the stories of different technology people through the questions that you're asking and in talking to them. And I think you're out there doing some amazing work, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
And I did masters in software engineering, also bachelor's in computer science and engineering. Right now
Wow.
I'm doing DevOps engineering work.
Nice.
So that is my full-time job. Apart from that, I'm talking with experts like you who are already in the industry, who are into different departments in technology industry, also who are from different parts of the world. Not only technology, but I also interview people who are from other industries like diverse lawyers, doctors,
Wow.
engineers, authors, police
Wow.
officers, army people.
That's awesome. No, I went, and most of the videos I've watched, and maybe it's the YouTube algorithm, have been technology leaders. I need to go dig into your videos more. I know you've been doing this for almost 5 years, right?
3 years.
3 years. 3 years. Okay. So you've been doing this for 3 years, and you've got a lot of videos, and I enjoy your style.
So, talking with experts like you from everywhere on the planet and trying to know how you are solving problems and what you are interested in and how you are able to do the things that you are doing, gaining this knowledge and getting this information, and how this knowledge is going to helpful for me if I work in IT in coming days.
Um, that's a good question. In the modern world, the best currency we've got is knowledge. The more knowledge you have, the more valuable you are to the company that you work for. And so, well, and it will help you if you don't even, if you're not working for companies, um, but having more knowledge allows you to approach problems from different angles. So if you're not super specialized in an area, having insights from, like you said, lawyers, doctors, army people, programmers, who knows what, right? Having those insights will give you the ability to approach problems from different angles. Having talked to them and learned about how they learn and how they approach problems and things like that, I think it'll be very useful.
And you being in IT industry for a long time, learning different technologies and solving different problems, how do you define your technology life?
My technology life. So I grew up on a potato farm in Idaho. And I learned from a very young age that I didn't enjoy farming potatoes. And so a lot of what I've done is so that I'm not I'm not back farming potatoes. And I know that sounds kind of funny, but as a kid, I made a decision that I didn't want to be a farmer anymore. And so I spend a lot of time working on technology so that I am valuable and I don't have to go back and work on a potato farm. And that's kind of the lesson I've learned over the course of my career is focus on learning. You, always spend your time learning. Don't ever feel like you've reached the pinnacle of what you can learn. There's always something new to learn. And as you learn more and more, you become more and more valuable. And you can do more of what you want to do and less of what you don't want to do. For me, programming is what I want to do. What I don't want to do is, farm potatoes. And so that's kind of what my technology career has been about: learning and becoming, learning to the point where I can do what I want to be doing and less of what I don't want to be doing. And that's kind of what I would recommend to anybody in IT or in technology, in DevOps too. Learn as much as you can so that you can do what you want to do.
And what is your driving force? What is motivating you, or what is encouraging you to do what you're doing now?
Absolutely. I have a couple of driving forces. First and foremost is my family. I grew up, and we didn't have a lot. I remember as a child going with my mom to churches to get food so that my family could eat, and things like that. I remember wearing clothes that my friends had worn the year before because we couldn't afford to buy clothes. I remember a lot of things like that. And so one of the driving forces for me is to provide for my family, so that they don't have to experience those kinds of things. That's a big driving force for me. I want my family to be comfortable and to have what they need, so they aren't worried about things like that, that I had to worry about as a child. Other big driving factors for me are I love to learn, and so even as a kid, I didn't read a lot of fiction books. I spent most of my time reading technology manuals and things like that, because I found technology and programming languages and operating systems to be fascinating. And so I loved reading those kinds of things. So another big driving factor I have is I love to learn, and I want to learn. Probably my last driving factor is, I feel like I've been very, very lucky in my career, and I tell people that my only true skills are being lucky and showing up, and I feel like that's gotten me to a good place. I want others to experience that in their careers, and so right now I'm focused on helping the community for free. I want more people to experience the kind of success that I've experienced. I want more people to be able to access the kind of knowledge that I've got access to. And so that's why I'm happy to share my knowledge for free. That's why I spend time streaming. That's why I spend time writing blog posts. And I don't, when I stream, I try to run as few ads as possible. When I'm writing blog posts, I don't put them behind, you don't have to pay for my blog posts, things like that. I want everybody to be able to access the same knowledge I have. And I want, in a perfect world, everybody would have the exact same knowledge as me and have the same success as me. And that's one of my driving factors right now. I want everybody to succeed.
You got attracted to more to technology since your childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Can I say you're more logical person when compared to emotional things?
Yeah. I definitely approach things from a very logical point of view, and I recognize that I struggle with people who make emotional decisions, because for me, when I make a decision, the decision is like, well, it makes sense because it's logical. For others, they're like, well, why can't you see my side? There's not logic there, and they can't see my side, right? So yeah, I am very much a logical person. I'm working on understanding emotional people better, but logic definitely drives me.
Is that the reason you are great in Angular today?
Uh, Probably. Yeah, you definitely. So when I was a child, I recognized that I understood computers and machines better than I understood people. Um, and so I remember as a child, people being like, "Well, how did you make the computer do that?" Well, it's simple, um, and it made a whole lot of sense to me. But to other people, they didn't understand how that worked or why. Um, and so I think, yeah, being logical and recognizing that from the time I was a child has definitely contributed to my success in Angular, yes.
And what are your qualities that are making you to be great with the machine?
Um, I That's tough because I don't know. To me, they just make sense, right? Things, and maybe it's just because that's the way I experience the world. Um, you know, machines are very logical, and so if you tell them to do something, they're going to do it. And when you're looking at things like engines and vehicles, or the well, most gas engines, right? Like your lawnmower engine or things like that. You can look and see how this piece affects this piece and it affects this piece, so you can understand it. And I don't know what qualities I have that allow me to do that. I do enjoy things like math. I enjoy technical discussions. I enjoy, um, I don't know, I just enjoy things that I understand, and for whatever reason, machines and computers, um, they seem to make sense to me. I'm not sure what qualities give me that ability, but it's been useful in my career.
And what is your way of looking at technology problems?
Are you talking about how I would go about solving a problem,
Yeah,
or are you talking about like societal technology problems?
the machine technology.
But yeah, how I would go about solving problems. So if there's a problem, the first thing I like to do is isolate the problem itself, figure out where the problem actually exists. Um, and to do that, you've got to take the time and investigate, um, and take a very scientific approach to it. Form a hypothesis, and then test that hypothesis. And if that hypothesis is false, throw it away and form a new hypothesis as to what's causing the problem. Test that, and then it will help you hone in on what the actual problem is. Once you do that, then you'll stop chasing a lot of false problems, right? Over time, you'll develop an instinct for where to form your hypothesis. But in the beginning, the most helpful thing you can do for solving a technology problem is just, based on your experience, this is what I think the problem is, and then try to disprove that problem. If you can't disprove it, then, refine your hypothesis. So, for example, if you've got a website styling issue, um, you might form a hypothesis around the CSS on the website. And so then you'll go look into the CSS, and you might investigate that with your browser tools. You might investigate that in the code. But if you rule out, well, no, it's not the CSS, then you'll start going, well, are there places in the JavaScript that affect the style? And so then you'll start looking for that. And maybe if you rule that out, then maybe you've got a global styling issue. And so, then you can, but what you're doing is you're saying, this is where it's most likely to be. That's not where it is. Throw it away. Come up with a new idea where it's most likely to be. And that's going to serve you well in technology. Instead of trying to guess regularly, you form these hypotheses and then you disprove them, and you'll be much better at solving problems by using those tools.
So being in technology for a long time, solving different problems in technology, how you are able to manage your time?
Oh, that's tough. That is one area where I need to get better, time management. There's so much that you want to do, and there's so many things in life also. When you have a family, your family takes part of your time. Your job will take part of your time. And then doing streaming and blog posts take part of my time. And then anything else I want to do is what's left over. I'm having to learn better time management skills. I'm not good at them, but one of the things that I've learned is take the most important things that you need to do and put those first. So you'll get the most important things done first, and then the remainder of your time can be given to whatever is left, right? But focus on what's most important, and don't let other people tell you what's most important. You decide what's most important, and you do what's most important, right? Because there will often be competing conflicts. For example, in my life, my family will demand part of my time. My job will demand my time. Streaming and social media demands my time. And then, writing demands my time. And then to not burn out, I need to be doing stuff, that's not work or things like that to allow my brain to rest and things like that. So, sleep, maybe watching shows, maybe playing games, things like that. They're going to demand part of my time. And they're going to be competing, right? Because my body is going to say I need sleep. My family says they need my time. Work is going to say they need as much time as they can get. Streaming needs a lot of time. You know that, right? Social media takes a lot of time. And so they're all constantly competing with each other. So you need to decide what you value. For me, my family, when they need time, my family always comes first. My career is what I look at next. But with your career, you need to set boundaries. So, if you allow it, your career will take over your lunch hour. It will bleed over into your evenings and things like that. So you need to set boundaries as to when you're available, and be available during those times and give 100% when you're available. But definitely when when your day is over because you need to give time to other priorities that you have. So yeah, that's my suggestion.
And what do you say to the top level technology experts? Do you have your words to tell to the top level experts who are working in technology?
Top level experts, are you saying like advice to give or
advice or suggestion?
Okay. My advice is so for top level technology experts, my advice would be let's make the world a better place. Let's work to help others. Let's help to uplift people who are in need. Let's use technology to make humans better. That's my advice for top level technology experts. You know, there's a big temptation to use technology to make a lot of money, and money is important, but when money becomes our driving force, we start to forget that people are humans, and we can do a lot of good with our knowledge and what we do in the world. So, you know, it's okay to make money, but our focus should be on making humans and making the world a better place.
So even one person on the planet who is listening to you, if your words changes for the growth or the productivity or for the development, for any positive change in the world, you'll be the reason for their change and for their development, and I'll be the reason for this contribution.
Oh, I love that idea. That I really hope that our conversation today makes the world a better place. Thank you for the opportunity.
100%, it changes definitely. It creates impact for sure. And your words, your experience, your experiences that you shared, and also how you did things work, definitely it will help. And can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your permission?
Absolutely. Yes, you can put it on YouTube.
And also, can I put this audio and video clip on my podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yes, you can.
I'll share it, your links also on my website. People who visit my website can see your work and can learn from you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me. I've enjoyed our conversation today. Thank you very much.
It's an honor, sir. Thank you very much for your valuable time, and thanks for being patient.
It was worth it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Take care.
You too. Bye.
Bye.